won't see me.
We about to do a great piece on Steve Biko and the Black Consciousness Movement and where it all began.
You want to leave?
South Africa.
If you want,
You're listening to the sweet sounds of my new album. It's crazy, cause I'm already gone.
when I hit the studio and I make a cook up, it's clear. It's just something that she fears. Sometimes people hold you back because they want you near. But tell the truth, baby, I ain't even here. Shit, I'm gone already. Champagne done poured already. I done walked off the court already. All the houses is bought already. My toughest case has been fought already. Baby mother took me to court already. Surprise, I thought the lies were thought already. I'm right, the judge believe it's a song already been done. But this whole shabak will move on already.
You already know the vibe. Salute to everybody. Welcome to One Community. If you are new, welcome to the community. If you're part of the community, you already know the vibes. Welcome back. I did want to do a special piece I'm going to do. It's coming up, and it's based on Steve Biko and the Black Consciousness Movement. I know a lot of people are into this consciousness, and I even met a lot of people since I've been doing live streaming and since I've been podcasting. And people say, and I think of the Black consciousness, I think of these people that came from jail or things like that. And I was even talking to one sister, and I was like, you know what? It's not really just that. A lot of people get enlightenment, you know what I mean? But it's still a lot more people that represent this culture, you know what I'm saying? And they didn't come from jail, and they in the community, in the conscious community, you know what I mean? Especially in the Kemetic community. A lot of people have a distaste for people that's in the Kemetic community, but it's great brothers that's in the Kemetic community, like Brother Mfudishi, you know what I'm saying? Very, very great brothers. It's very, very great, powerful people, you know what I'm saying, that, are upstanding and, you know what I mean, do the right thing and got that knowledge. So we just can't cast a shade on a whole thing based on a couple of characters in any situation. You know what I mean? Not just this situation, but when we start to go into more history, and when I go into this special, like it's going to be like a little documentary that I'm doing, I'm going to start going into more things like that, pre-recorded content in my documentaries and things like that. And now I'm going to start doing my interviews. I got a lot of big interviews that I'm waiting to do for y'all. Informative interviews. This is what I mean by big, man. It ain't matter about the people, but or status of things. It's just more about big in the form of knowledge, though, and information. But it's going to be some good people though that you may like and you may know them. So shout out to that. So this is just a preview of what we're going to be going into on the Steve Biko breakdown. As you can see, maybe just make sure everything is right on the screen for y'all. Yeah, okay, just making sure. But as you can see, I'm saying, it shows you the Black Consciousness Movement, South Africa, right? So I'm going to go into a breakdown of this, right? The overview. What is apartheid? Apartheid laws. National Union of South African Students, right? That's the SASO, right? Steve Biko and the South African Students Organization, right? That's the SASO, right? Black Consciousness Movement. The philosophy and aims of the Black Consciousness Movement. How the people and the National Party responded to the Black Consciousness Movement. The impact of the Black Consciousness Movement on student movements and the end of apartheid, right? So we're going to be going into breakdowns of things like that. We're also going to be going into this right here. So when you want to go into apartheid, right? The National Party gained power in South Africa in 1948. Its all-white government began enforcing policies of racial segregation under a system of legislation called apartheid, 1948 to 1994. That's a long time. That's a long time. Apartheid laws, right? So the Population Registration Act of 1950, which formalized racial classifications and introduced an identity card for all persons over the age of 18, specifying their racial group. See what I'm saying? So you see where some of these things come from. The Population Registration Act of 1950, which formalized racial classification and introduced an identity card for all persons over the age of 18, specifying their racial group. Okay? All right. The Mixed Marriages Act of 1949, It prohibited marriage between people of different races. The Group Areas Act of 1950, it forced people of certain races into living in designated areas. This is the projects, all of these things like this. We still living in situations right now when we look and see these situations even happening around us and where we are in our city, even in America, right? The Reservation of Separate Amenities Act of 1953. The municipal grounds could be reserved for a particular race, creating separate beaches, buses, hospitals, and schools, and universities. So you can already see the separation and what's going on right here, right? So now the National Union of South African Students, right? The National Union of South African Students, the NUSAS, a liberal organization that was multiracial but was dominated by white students sympathetic to the black students' cause. Initially, it aimed to promote the interests of students, but by the early 60s, the NUSAS began opposing apartheid measures in general, period. All right? It's going to walk you through a quick overview of this. Now bringing in Steve Biko now. Right? Steve Biko was born in South Africa in 1946. He became active with the NUSAS, but withdrew in 1968. Began to analyze and criticize the unhealthy political situation in the country. Co-founded the South African Students Organization, the SASO, in 1968. The SASO's president in 1969. An advocate of the Black consciousness movement introduced by SASO. In 1973, Biko was banned by the apartheid regime, and he was forbidden to write or speak publicly, to talk with media representatives, or to speak to more than one person at a time. In August of 1977, he was arrested. He died on September 12th, 1977, from a brain hemorrhage, the result of injuries he had sustained while in police custody. A month later, probably not even a month later, he was dead after he was arrested. It's crazy. South African Students Organization, Black Students Only Union. SASO created a number of projects which promoted and emphasized Black identity, range from addressing health problems to developing a literacy program. SASO embraced the philosophy of Black consciousness, which claimed that whites, however sympathetic to their struggle, could not be a part of the liberation of Blacks. Eventually, SASO and the Black consciousness movement were banned by South African government in October 19, 1977. The Black Consciousness Movement. The Black Consciousness Movement was founded by Steve Biko and emerged with the formation of the SASO in 1968. The BCM was established as an effective political force by the early 1970s, and by 72, it had achieved a success that made the state wary of the new organization's potential for anti-apartheid resistance and for its capacity to challenge the apartheid project. The BCM challenged the entire white structure that existed in South Africa by developing alternative structures. The BCM challenged the entire white structure that existed in South Africa by developing an alternative structures, right? So we'll get into some of these structures that they started doing, which started, because when we go into history, right? Because history is built off history and civilizations is built off civilizations, right? So if you want to look at a situation that we're in now, you got to look at a past situation, because that's what our situation is probably based on or being furthered You know what I mean? In the situation that we're in now. So when we start to understand maybe things that worked or maybe things that got people to get together or things of how they got together, because different people had different stripes and all type of stuff and was probably beefing, right? Even in South Africa, people had different people, different tribes, or I mean, different things, even out there, right? Everybody's just not, we all South African. Probably people have different tribes, right? So therefore, they still found a way to come together though. So, you know what I mean? When you look at the Black Panthers, when you look at groups like this and you look at certain things and say, damn, how did they do this? You know what I mean? What did they do? You know what I'm saying? How was they able to bring people together? You know what I mean? These are the type of things that I study. I study these things frequently. I study the greatest leaders on earth. You know what I mean? I study the greatest war strategies on earth. You know what I'm saying? This is why I try to take my mind out of a war place. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I've studied my whole life. You know what I mean? War and how to, you know what I mean? I understand that. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, what we need to understand is how we need to mobilize. We need to mobilize. Everybody's in a war mode, but nobody knows how to mobilize. Everybody's moving and acting on emotions. You know what I mean? And once people are doing that, at the end of the day, I could get most dominantly anybody to do anything then. Because people move off emotions. You know what I'm saying? That's why everything we got to look at. You got to look at this, and that's why even emotions, you got to separate from yourself when you're dealing with not only war, but when you're dealing with yourself and when we're dealing with situations, even if we're coming together, we have to separate personal emotions from us linking and coming together because the BCM was able to do something, right? The Black Consciousness Movement, right? And we see something here. This is a Black Consciousness Movement, but is this thing established like this thing is established? Are all of the parties involved trying to establish something really structural, like something like this is structured? Or is it all about talking? Is it all about other things? What is it really about? So when we look at things, you got to see what things are about. And the Black Consciousness Movement challenged the entire white structure that existed in South Africa by developing their own structures. And these are some of the things that we have to do. We have to develop our own structures. We have to develop our own things, our own laws. I think we have to develop our own laws. I think we need a universal melanated law for people that's of color like us. Not to say we bias, because if the laws is real and they right, then people that's not, you know what I mean, whatever color you want to identify with, black or whatever, you know what I mean, people are still going to want to adopt those things because if it's right and it's real, is it a color on those laws? Nah. But there's a certain way that we should carry ourselves. There's a certain way that we should interact with each other. There's a certain love that we should have for each other. And it's so sad a lot of times that we don't have that love for each other. Everybody just uses everybody for everything. Nobody ever really cares about anyone. They built clinics, all right? This is some of the things that they started to do, right? And this sounds like some of the things like the Black Panthers was doing, right? They was building clinics. They was building stuff, bringing up the addicts off the street, getting them off, cleaning them up, getting them right, food programs, because you got to be able to feed the people. You can't just say, hey, we're going to do all of this, but you can't feed nobody. People got to eat. So you got to be able to feed the people. That's vital. You know what I'm saying? Food, clothes, and shelter, that's mega. That's mega. You feel me? So they built clinics. They created literacy programs, all right? Because with the people being more literate, people knowing different things, right? You need this, right? For a multitude of reasons. You can go into a multitude of reasons of why people need literacy programs, right? Held leadership training seminars. So they already moving these young minds, getting people in a leadership mode, getting these young minds, because look what they're doing. And this is a student organization. A lot of times these great movements started from the youth. They did. All of those people, Black Panther, they was young. They was 17 and all that, and they died. Look at these people. They was young too. Coming out of college, they in college, sparking it up, going against the injustices and all that. You know what I'm saying? So they held leadership training seminars. They created youth organizations, produced resistance literature. They mounted cultural events and protests that shook the apartheid regime. You know what I'm saying? So they started making moves. They ain't just started building their own thing. They started, building up their clinics so that they could take care of their people. Health. We need health. That's mega. What are we going to do about health? Every day we got the Biden thing gone. Now some other shit, then with Trump thing gone. Now, this is some switcheroo shit. We need to be able to get something going where we can start to take care of our own selves. We got a lot of influential people that are melanated or whatever we want to identify ourselves with, that are not helping things like this. This is the type of things that we got to get the help on. And it doesn't matter. Everybody wants to claim the thing that we're going to help to build. Doesn't matter who claims it. Let it be for the people. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to claim the thing that we're going to build. It doesn't matter who claims it. But we need to build. They built clinics. They built literacy programs. They had leadership training seminars. They created new youth organizations. They got the youth inspired leadership. It's not no switch around where elders is talking about they're not leaders. The elders are leaders. They're telling you they're leaders, and they're telling you as a young person, you about to go to this leadership training seminar and be trained on how to be a leader. And we're going to create new youth programs where y'all going to be in, and this might be testing y'all leadership qualities and where you can learn different things. And now y'all can excel in these organizations. And this gives young people inspiration to want to keep excelling, doing the research, doing the knowledge, because they produce resistance literature. So they had them reading their own things, re-educating them. And they mounted cultural events, bringing in the culture, bringing the people the pride back to the people, getting the people back in themselves, back into the pride of who they are. And now when they got this pride of who they are, what they doing now? They outside with it. Big facts. They protesting and they did shit that shook the whole apartheid regime. That's something that actually worked. Not something that we're guessing in our heads. So when we're on these platforms and we look around, ask who is helping who. Ask who is helping what. Ask, is people or are people just talking, or are they trying to do things like that? You look for people that is trying to do things like this. Anything related to things like that. Bring people together, all right? And they challenged the white structure that existed in there by developing their own structures, by bringing the people together and understanding that we got to do our own thing. Right? And then once we start to come together, we start to understand. We start to get resources. We start to get funding. We start to figure this out. Maybe us coming together gets us funding, because we are the people that funds everything in the damn world, right? We buy everything. We the damn consumer. And everything is marketed towards us. They even get our suggestion. That's why all these things keep popping up for you to suggest. They keep asking you questions based on what you think so that they could create something based on what you think. So why would you say what you think don't matter? The philosophy and aims of the Black consciousness, right? Black consciousness started as an attitude of mind rather than a political movement. Black consciousness started as an attitude of mind rather than a political movement. Black consciousness aimed to raise Black confidence to bring about the liberation. All right? Not just say, hey, we going outside and we about to wild out. Raising the pride, raising the confidence, raising the you know what I mean, all of the good things that's in a person that we lose just by being beat down in the system, just by being beat down by the judicial systems, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just by society in itself. Everything that we watching is beating us down. Everything when you turn on the news, you being beat down. It ain't you, but it's somebody that look like you. So whether you say or not that you're not affected by the things that you're seeing, subconsciously or consciously, you are affected by everything that you see, every travesty, everything that you see. So we must raise the confidence of the people. How do we raise the confidence of the people? By promoting pride in Black identity, culture, and history. The Black man must build up his own value systems and see himself as self-defined and is not defined by others. So you got to understand what's going on. There's a process that's happening in front of your face right there. It ain't people just going about, hey, we going outside, we getting together. No, we about to have a cookout, shindig, y'all. No, ain't nobody gonna have no goddamn shindig. They started as an attitude of mind rather than a political movement. It turned into something more bigger. Something that we need to think about ourselves. Better yet, nah, man. We think about, we not defined by nobody. Who the fuck defines me? Just like Eve James' podcast was saying earlier today. I'm not living by nobody tailoring my experience. This is my spiritual and my physical journey. This is my physical experience of a spiritual being. I'm a spiritual being, and this is my physical experience. My life is a physical experience. So I'm not letting nobody tailor or dictate my physical experience. But some of us have been doing that our whole life, consciously or subconsciously, because we've been taught everything we know. Even down to the school systems have taught us everything we know. And we understand that that is a miseducation. To be well-read is to read more. To be well-read is to do further research. Even in the things that you know. Because you can always learn something else about something that you know. That's why the wisest man also turns a baby again in the face of knowledge. And they learn, even though they know mad things. So then it was something that just started and he just kicked up dust and we outside, y'all. Fuck that. No. It started as an attitude rather than a political movement. It aimed to raise Black confidence and bring about liberation. That's what we want. What do you want? What do you want? We all from the streets. We all from the shits. What do we want? Do we want us all to be dead? What do we want? Do we have children? What do we want then? Do we even care about the children? I gotta ask some people that. Do they even care about the children? At all? Any children? Their children? Any children? Because I don't see it in their actions. And I damn sure don't see it on their channels. I don't see it. I'm just not a hater. But I know I don't see it. You gotta do good work. You gotta do good things. You gotta show me. You got to show me. And you'll never get a hate from me if you're showing me that. I don't care what you say about me. You showing me that? That's what I want to see. Because I don't care what we hating on. Regardless of people hating every day, physical people hating in my life. In physical life, real life, family members and all that. And I'm floating and flying. And they tight. You think I'm really going to let anybody else disturb that? How can you let anybody else disturb that? Not when you know exactly what you're seeing on your screen. Raise the Black confidence to bring about the liberation. Getting the people back instilled in their history. Getting the people, drying their brain out of a brainwash. This is what we're talking about. Promote pride in Black identity. Not the separating. Not us separating the man from the woman. Not us banging on the woman that's this and that. Not, yo, she a hoe. Niggas be hoes too. The fuck, if that's the case. If that was a call. Everybody's everything and everybody be everything. So we not limiting nothing to nobody. The same shit you can say about a woman, you can say about damn near half of these motherfuckers. Sorry. But not sorry. It's true. Are people really promoting the pride in the Black identity? Or are they trying to tear that down? Did they start promoting this pride in this Black identity? Are they still doing this? These are the questions you ask yourself about anybody. Not just that. Me too, everybody. Did they start with this and did they stop? Did they ever do it at all? Is the message that they're promoting now blurred? Those are 3 questions. Culture and history. The black man must build up his own value systems. See himself as a self-defined and not as defined by others. They challenged the white liberals. And then they promoted what? Black unity. How many people on YouTube? How many people on the streets? How many people anywhere you see? How many people on your TV, on your TV screen? How many people on a reality show, on anything you see, on a video, on a music video, anything? How many people are promoting this thing, which is culmination of Black consciousness stands for? It started out as an attitude, right? Rather than a political movement, right? And it promoted what? Black unity, not black separation. Not the black woman is this and that. Not the black man is this and that. Not the black child is this and that. If you could say anything about a black man, woman, and child, ask yourself, what are you doing to help a black man, woman, and child? If you ain't doing nothing to help a black woman and child, you have no say. You're obsolete. I have to see it. We have to see this. Because we all, as a body, are the leaders of our nation. We are the leaders of our nation. Not one person, not me. Every one of us. We promote black unity. It may not be as monetary good for people. You know what I mean? Monetarily good to promote unity, right? Because war is how you get money. That's why the government always going to war. And this is how you get the money and the trillions. And then you divvy up the money. Right? That's how it goes, right? Peace ain't no money, no peace. What? What's peace? There's no money in that. See? That's why people will not promote peace. But I promote peace. And sometimes a few feathers may have to get ruffled while you promoting peace. Because just because you are pushing peace don't mean you pussy. Just because you pushing peace don't mean play around. See what I'm saying? It just means we're not thinking personally. But as we get to those personal things, we will bulldoze through those walls. If those walls just don't move themselves out the way, which some of these walls have done, and they will do eventually. They'll just move themselves out the way because it don't make no sense. Love is the only bullet for hate. But sometimes you got to match energy all the time. You got to match people at their energy. And I'm all about that. People that I match them with their energy. But I'm not here to be weaponized against people, especially my own people. I'm not here. But I will not be weaponized against as well. Sorry. You got to go find somebody that don't help people. You got to go find somebody that don't promote black unity. Changing the mind of the people. I'm not talking about politics. Raising the confidence in the people. Talking, letting people talk, letting people be themselves. Not kicking them out every time people have their own view and blocking them, retracting them, telling them y'all in their kingdom and shit. Promoting pride in black identity, culture, and history. You got to think, who's doing these things, man? And if they were doing this, are they still? And if they're doing something now, what have they ever been doing? Have they ever did any of these things? Have they ever really promoted this last thing alone? Just the last one. Black unity. If they're black. Biko's definition of black consciousness. This is Biko's definition. Black consciousness is, in essence, the realization by the black man of the need to rally together with his brothers around the cause of their oppression. And I think this needs to be more globalized because we need our brothers and our sisters standing side by side in this rally. We don't need a 1,000,000-man march. If we brought out men and women, that should be like 3 million. Why limit this shit to a 1,000,000-man march? Our women is on the battlefield every day. How the hell we gonna tell them go in the house now? They out here fighting. They out here fighting for some of us. And niggas ain't even fighting. They out here putting in all the fucking fight. And motherfuckers is talking bullshit. So this need to be expanded. It just need to be expanded. There's nothing wrong with it. We need to expand it. We need men and women. And we need our children. We need the youth. We need men, women, and children. The Holy Trinity. Man, woman, and child. The first Trinity known to man. Before you ever knew about any other Trinity you ever could think about. Man, woman, child. The first Trinity. God in the physical form. Don't think far. Understand that that's what life is. Every animal, everything do it. They just repeat in the process. Man, woman, child. Man, woman, child. Some things can do what they do by themselves. They have different. So that goes to show you that things could have came from that as well. Because we have those things on earth to show us that. Not going too far. Aims of BCM, in Biko's words. This was his aims of the whole thing. And what's crazy is he was in jail for like 20 some days, 21 days. And was dead. Brain hemorrhaging. Beat him in his head, man. Head injuries. Sad, man. Blessed to the ancestor, man. BCM seeks to infuse the black community with a newfound pride in themselves, their efforts, their value systems, their culture, their religion, and their outlook to life. Blacks no longer seek to reform the justice system because so doing implies acceptance of the major points around which the system revolves. Blacks are out to completely transform the system and to make of it what they wish the system to be. Okay? BCM seeks to infuse the black community with a newfound pride in themselves, their efforts, their value systems, their culture, their religion, and their outlook to life. Blacks no longer seek to reform the system, right? They don't want to reform this broken system that we keep trying to fix, right? Because so doing implies acceptance of the major points around which the system revolves. You see, they don't want to reform it because then we accepting some major parts of this shit, period. So we're not accepting shit. Blacks are out completely to transform the system and to make of it what they wish, period. Just because this was South Africa, don't mean that we can't do this now. Just because this was 1968, 1972 and all of that, don't mean that this can be 2021, 2022, 2023 right now. But these are blueprints of how things are done. We don't have to guess. This may not be as profitable for some of y'all. I get it. I get it. That's why y'all will never cover the things that I'm going to cover. But this is the work that gets that gets us to where we need to be. We all have to lift our voices. I don't care what's the other things we lifting our voices out. I don't care even if you lift your voice at me. I don't care. Don't care. Make sure you are covering things that are going to help not only us, but help you. Not only you, but help your children if you have children, or help your family members. You plan on leaving this world the way it is right now? That's what y'all doing. Y'all beef till y'all was dead, or till y'all was old enough and said, fuck it, YouTube's gone and we ain't gonna do this no more. And then that's it. So you just beefed the whole time and that was it. That's what you achieved. Got a bag, maybe, possibly, but maybe sometimes didn't, or whatever. And nothing else? No liberation of your people? No lifting of the voices, no helping nobody, no giving nobody no confidence, no pride, no self-worth, no history in who they are? You just know the history in your head, but you just talk about a bunch of bullshit all day? I most definitely separate from those people in real life. Trust me. And I don't plan on being best buddies with people like that here. I don't. I never did. Trust me. But just because you don't agree with people, and just because some people is on the left and some are on a different minds, man, I'll be looking at people sometimes to try to wonder. I try not to be biased to people. I try to give people that one grace period of friction. That's my melanated laws that I'm practicing my own laws. So I've given everybody that I've met online one grace period of friction. Because I've done nothing to nobody. Everybody that I'm talking to has done something to me. Hassan Campbell came and spoke to me. Sanetta came over here and spoke to me. All these people came. This next person came, tried to go over there and talk to Sanetta. This is what's happening. And this is what I'm speaking about. I'm not going around busting a gun all over YouTube. The YouTube gun. You know what I'm saying? I'm speaking about the things that I'm speaking about. Because remember, everything is meant to be distractions and distractors. You feel me? Because they'll never cover what I'm covering. They'll never do what I'm doing. They'll never go to bring people together on conscious vibes, because that's not going to be viewed content. I'm not here for that. My content will get more viewed once I do what I really do, which is my own things that I do. I have not highlighted those things this whole time. Got to open our minds. Ideology of Black consciousness. The ideology of Black consciousness represented a deeper strand of Africanism with African nationalism. The ideology had a long history which dates back to the 1880s. Therefore, it has been argued that the most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. The most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. Steve Biko diagnosed the problem of oppression in South Africa as a problem of culture. Black South Africans were ashamed of their history, religion, and art. Blacks were ashamed of their skin color. We are seeing the same things here. Biko had often spoken about the unique qualities of African culture and the destructive influence of Western culture. Black consciousness urges people to judge themselves according to these standards and not to be fooled by white societies. Okay? Black consciousness. So when these people keeping up the fuckery, the beef, and all that shit, they're keeping up what the white society want. They're doing the white man's job. They're doing the European constructs further you know what I mean? Of the same concept. They're further perpetuating it. You see? They may be doing it for fun. Some people just doing it for foolishness. Some people doing it because everybody else is doing it. But this is what you're doing. If you're not doing this, then what are you doing? If you're black and you're not doing anything like this, what the fuck are you doing? We are in too crucial of a time right now for you not to be doing any of this. And this is really the kind of people that I vibrate with. I just gave everybody a grace period, and I showed everybody love in the process, which we supposed to do. right? We can't be biased to our people, right? We got to be able to see, all right, man, maybe people saying bad things about this person. Let me see them for myself. All right, cool. And just because it's that, what? Do I see how they interact with me? Yeah, that's what it's about. Sometimes we got to do that. Do you believe in yourself? Do you really believe in your people? We got to ask ourselves questions like that. Do I really believe in my people? Ask yourself that question. Care who your people are. Your people ain't got to be black if you're white. Ask yourself, do you believe in your people? I mean white people, they be like, I don't believe in white people. So I'm just saying, who do you believe in? People's reaction to the Black consciousness movement. So when we look at this so-called consciousness movement now, and we see that it's nothing like this. We don't need a yes man, and I don't plan on being a yes man. So I plan on getting hate from day one, long time ago. So any hate that could come is late. It's really late. It's really late. And hate is a part of the mission because hate also pushes the mission further. So not all hate, you just gotta, you know what I'm saying? You gotta understand how to use hate. Because when people express hate, they only expose themselves. Because they're talking from emotional places. They're talking from vague places. They're talking from vain places for goals and gains and intentions and subconscious things, right? So they only expose themselves all through those things. They'll never see that. Only a person that sees things like that and is psychological and is on strategy like that and understands paradigms and people's mindsets and paradigms and why people do things in advanced child experiences and mad shit. So I could just get assessments of some people and just looking at them and listening to them. You got to be able to do that. That might save you trouble sometimes. This is the people's reaction to the Black consciousness movement. The idea that Black people might determine their own destiny. This is scary to people. As well as develop a new Africanism with deep roots in the Black consciousness movement swept across the Black campuses, swept everywhere. We all want to get down with shit like this. Subconsciously or consciously, we really want that shit. It's just nobody really want to jump out the window. And we've been trained to be silent, and we've been trained to just beef and do all the bullshit amongst each other because that's what they always want us to do because they sit back and watch the circus, and a lot of us are characters in that circus. You just got to ask, who are you in the circus? Because we all in here. Who are we? Some people's the elephant running around on the bike. Some people, you know what I mean? Lion jumping through a hoop or some shit. Who are you? The clown, the monkey? Who? YouTube's a circus. Who are you? Your work show you who you are. The shit you talk about show you exactly who you are. If you ain't talking about none of these things like this, you're not helping nobody like that, and people not leaving your channel really like this, like, brother, sister, you inspired me, yo, like, listen, for real, and people really not just saying that, but people living by their law. Your law is what you say. You ain't got to worry about no law. What you say is your law. The words that come out of your mouth, your word is your born. You born those words into existence. That is your law. You're supposed to live by it. You're supposed to live by the things that you say. You're supposed to live and do the things that you're saying and doing. You're supposed to live it. It's supposed to be a part of your everyday life. It's supposed to be first nature, first and second nature. You feel me? This strongly influenced those who had experienced the frustrations of the system and those who detested feelings of inferiority to white people. And a lot of us feel that way. A lot of us, I'm speaking as our people, they feel that way, consciously or subconsciously. They feel an inferiority to white people. Some people feel that white people, I just did a stream where a guy was saying that if you a dark-skinned woman, you're going to have the melanin popping, your lips popping, all of that shit, and you're going to grow old, looking beautiful, but you can never compare to a pretty white woman or to an exotical woman. And that's a black person saying that. Then when he was talking to another kind of woman, which would be like his type, exotical or like Latino, whatever you think he like, And she said, you know what? I actually like light-skinned black men. He got highly offended and splashed the woman with water, which was crazy. National Party government response to black consciousness. Government welcome BCM. See what I'm saying? Government welcome BMC, the black consciousness movement at first. It saw it as fitting in with policy of separate development at first. Look at this. It started out like that. But once they see what? Black people coming together, talking about our problems and how we need to fix them, and don't blame no white man, forget what they doing, everybody's construct and all that. We on our own shit, creating our own construct. We gonna make our own shit for us. We gonna help us to get educated. Who's educating people on these platforms? And are they living by their education? Do we see the education that they're spewing to you in their life? Do we see the string of it? Do we see it being a repetitive thing that this is what they're pushing? Because these are the people that you need to push towards, because these are the people that I'm really pushing towards. So these are the people that you see me really congregating with. When you see me congregating and talking online, you see me talking with people that want to build. I've shown love to many people and I will continue to do that. But when you see me really building and chopping it up with people, then you will see what I'm talking about. Because some people are not in that place yet. And some people feel they're in that place. And some people just need a little nudge. And I'm here to be that nudge. I'm here to nudge us in a way that we need to go that way. Because I know that we are powerful people. And I know that we the highly spiritual people on earth. And I know that everything came out of us. And I know that we indigenous to this whole planet. So if we want to stand up and claim every part of this earth, we could. I understand all that. But why we don't understand it? Why do we see us beefing with each other as a profit when that shit is not profit at all? If we all came together, everybody's lit. It's done. It's quiet. Everybody's lit. They'll stop paying us. They will stop paying us on this platform. Not me. I don't get paid here. But I'm just saying. As far as creators go, I don't do this to get paid. So some people are doing this to get paid. Feel me? I didn't. I've created 35 YouTube channels. I created 25. I already had 10. I created 25 so far community channels. All around the world, community channels. What I'm doing is what I'm doing. You can go and look them up. One community Australia, one community West Africa, South Africa, North, Central. One community United Kingdom, one community Canada. And all people from these countries and these specific regions are going to help me to build these channels. And we're going to bring the awareness. We're going to bring the one community, the oneness, the same concept that I'm doing right here from my place of where I am in New York City, in America, helping unify things around me, everything that came around here. And besides that, helping to do this globally, because people all around the world is being inspired by what we're doing. I can't say it's me, because we are doing this. So you got to ask yourself, what do you want to be a part of? Huh? Some shit that a person doing or whatever you doing that's going to be history in a day or two, or some history. Man, never see that shit again and probably think about it never again, probably. Or do you really want to make history? You got to get around the movers and the shakers. You got to get around the people that's trying to make history. Not the people that know the history in the books, the people that really want to make history. I want to make history. History. Forever and ever, they talk about what you've done for the rest of Earth. Till Earth is done, they'll talk about you, just like how we talking about Steve Biko right now. That type shit. Are we here to just chill, vacation sometime, Insta, World Star, all this other shit? Or are we here really to get to this right here and leave your mark on Earth? Were you born to live and die? Or were you born to leave a mark? So how can you leave a mark around people that want to live and die. And even if they don't physically want to live and die, everything in their actions or the things that's in their word is all about, it's either dying. It's not even about a lot of life. I don't see life in their breath because they're not breathing life into people. They're breeding dissension. They're breeding beef. They're breeding war. They're not breeding unity. They're not breeding us coming together so that we can challenge something. They just rather us be separate because that's how they always kept winning anyway. So they rather this shit go the same way that history been playing out because they know history and they studied it because they went to school and I dropped out at nine, in the ninth grade. But they must know history, so they know that it's okay how it's going. And they could just rock it out probably till they like 60 years old and then they tired and now they banging on the system now. Now they all knowing it, all knowledge, and now they talking all the shit that they were supposed to be talking while they was young people. When they been knew what the fuck they supposed to be talking about since they was young people. And once again, it's the young people that sparks these movements. It's not old people. It's young people that get the people crunk and cranked up. Something about our youth. Why you think these people love our youth? Why you think our youth is going missing? We need to stop watching each other and watch who the fuck is fucking around with our children and our women and our men too. But when we take the target off each other's backs, then when maybe we can see what the fuck is affecting our community. Because it's affecting our community on a grand scale. And people are just riding bikes by, riding shit by, and just picking people out of our fucking community right under our noses every fucking day right now. In every one of our cities right now. Of all of us right now that's on YouTube. This is happening. And no one's covering nothing. No one's even talking about some shit that happened down the road. Somebody missing, all type of shit. But they're telling you about some shit that you missed the other day. I ain't missed shit. I would like to hear about the person that's missing in your neighborhood. Because maybe I want to do a story on it. And maybe another person. And maybe another person. And maybe another person. And that's how we get our black news out. We got to get our message out. We are the last line of defense. We are the news. We are everything. Us content creators right now, we are the news, man. This is how people are getting informed. People don't watch news no more like that. People don't listen to music, all that type of shit on radios and type of shit like that. They listen to YouTube. They listen to podcasts. They getting music, all that shit. But Biko was highly articulate and his support was growing. He was clearly not going to be easily bought off or controlled by apartheid regimes. Can't be biased, man. You got to stand on what you're standing on. You have to. Government increased its policy of repression, expulsions, arrests, and banning organizations. So they already started that. This is what got that out the way. Just like right now, you can't congregate. If you 3 people deep walking around, you are damn near a gang. You loitering, you doing this, you doing that. How many times he's locking them up? They didn't lock me up being young. We wasn't doing shit. We together just chilling, talking about some sports or some shit. The fuck? Same shit. Same constructs. Same constructs. The impact of the philosophy of BCM on the student movements, right? So you got to know it's something about these student movements. It's something about these colleges. It's something about how this information goes out and how these young people take this pride in themselves. It's something about when they just wide with knowledge and believing in themselves and just get this knowledge like, yo, we all of that. Nah, you wildin'. We need to step up. And the older people like, man, we've been at this shit so long, man. Man, I've been doing that shit, man. I've been talking about this shit forever, man. You know what I'm saying? So the elders have that kind of a vibe sometimes. Not all the time, because some of our elders be outside with it. But a lot of times the elders been at it for so long that they like, man, I ain't got the energy, man. My bones can't. I've been talking to a lot of elders, man. My bones can't. They give you some things sometimes, but they still be at the fight too in their own little ways. Feel me? but it's something about the youth. Black consciousness played an important role in inspiring Soweto youth into action in 1976. Its philosophies filled them with the self-confidence to address their own harsh circumstances. Not just people lashing out. A lot of people, the craziest thing though is that we're in a world right now that a lot of us are more conscious now, man. I've been a conscious person since a kid, yo. And it's crazy that my life led me to do some mega unconscious shit. You feel me? Some shit that I wish I could take back, yo. For real, honestly. But I can't. But I really can't. The South African Students Movement, the SASM, was a Black consciousness organization of high school students formed in 1968. In 1973, a number of SASO students organized a walkout from Black universities. Many of them became teachers in Soweto schools and inspired the students to action. See what I'm saying? See what I mean? Those same people that had the vibe, they inspired the young people to get in their bag. We got to inspire our young people to get in their bag because they are our hope. It's not no cliche. They really are the fucking hope. They are it. And us beefing all day is not going to be it. The end of apartheid. Nelson Mandela, a leader of the ANC, had been arrested in 1964 and sentenced to life imprisonment. He was a symbol of the resistance to the apartheid. The apartheid system began to fall apart in the 1980s. 2 million unemployed blacks, a shrinking white minority, continued Black resistance, and an economy suffering convinced South Africans that something had to change. F.W. de Klerk was elected in 1989 and promised to seek a compromise between the majority and the minority. In 1990, de Klerk unbanned the ANC and released Nelson Mandela from prison. In 1994, the first free multiracial elections were held. Nelson Mandela was elected president. By the new parliament, apartheid was over. And that's what that's about. You see what he said? The most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. And I'm going to be doing a stream based on that itself. Black consciousness is an attitude of the mind and a way of life. The most positive call to emanate from the Black world for a long time. Black consciousness, do for self. By ourselves. These are principles that even since it was happened from South Africa, but we could put this anywhere and say that, damn, do this relate to now? Is this today? Think about that. Is this today? This is today. This ain't yesterday. This is today. We have to put our minds together. We have to bring our minds together. We have to form some sort of unity. We have to form some sort of oneness. Because right now it's getting scary. And our personal problems are not that serious. Trust me. I have real life personal problems. And this shit is not that serious that people talk about all day. So we must understand what we're dealing with here. We must understand that we are one love. We must understand that we are one voice. We must understand that we are one community. Not this YouTube channel. Us as a people. Us as a global body. We are one community. Salute to everybody on the pull up. You already know, man. Do your research on these topics that I'm bringing up, man. Do your research and ask yourself, man, how could you add to this? How can you bring this about now? How can we do this now? This is what I look at. These are all the things that I research all the time, and I study and think about how can I do that. So if you see me doing a lot of things, I'm doing things that I'm inspired by, but I'm also, you know what I mean? I'm doing my history now on even deeper things. But these are things that I already know. I know all these things. So it's not like I'm reading anything that I'm bringing to you today. I've read all these things. I'm deeply rooted in our history. I know it in my mind. And I'm not at a place where I say I know everything. Nah, I'm also willing to learn about it and be corrected on it because I really believe in it and I really stand on it. So ask yourself, what is it that you stand on? Look around you. Ask yourself, what is it that they stand on? Then ask yourself, are you in a place where you belong? And then ask yourself, why are you still there?
Video is sponsored by our first ever sponsor, Don't Hide the Plug. Don't Hide the Plug is an apparel company co-founded by two brothers from Flatbush, Tafari and Rossi Harper. Now these two black brothers have created an amazing, inspiring, high-quality brand. Now you see on Infominds, a lot of our content is New York based. We love New York, so it's only fitting that we partner up with a New York based brand, Don't Hide the Plug. Now they got some fire fitted hats, hoodies, t-shirts, and I'm feeling the old New York design with the bridge logo. They got the clout joints, the dad hats, and you can also have them delivered to you in the resealable merch by the pound bags too. Now mind you, they might be New York based, but their apparel is for everyone, whether you're from New York, Miami, Texas, Chicago. It's a grassroots movement. Get in tune. And they offer free shipping on all domestic orders of $75 or more. But if you enter the exclusive Infominds promo code, you'll get an additional 10% off at checkout. You already know I ordered my package. My package is on its way. So I'll be wearing and showcasing the Don't Hide the Plug apparel in my next live. Go out and support these brothers. Check out their website. I put the link in the description box. Don't Hide the Plug.